What's the significance of August 20th in cruising? How can 3 feet save you thousands of dollars? And what's the secret message in this carpet that most people will never notice? Hi there, I'm Tanner from Cruzely.com, and today I've come up with some cruise tips that are a bit strange, and frankly, most people have no idea about them. This is one that you're not going to want to miss. Before I get too far, I just want to remind you that Cruzely is so close to the goal of 100,000 subscribers, so a big thank you to everyone that subbed to this channel. If you find this video helpful, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss any future videos. That said, let's start with a strange one that I've never been able to make sense of. If you search online to buy a cruise, well, you're going to be shocked at how many websites there are out there selling these cruises. But if you go and you check their prices, they are the same price as what you'll find on the cruise line's website. In other words, you could spend hours searching dozens of websites for a deal, or just save yourself a ton of time and just go to the cruise line directly and pay the same amount. I get working with a travel agent to plan things, but if you're just going to book your cruise yourself online, it makes the most sense to go direct. Given that the prices are the same, I'm not sure how all these other websites actually make money. Given the amount of them out there though, it seems clear that they do somehow. Do you want to get romantic on your cruise? Of course you do. Given the family-friendly nature of cruising, however, it might seem weird to you that at least some cruises offer visual aids to help set the mood. Now, if you're sailing on Virgin Voyages, which is adults only, that cruise line has some room settings that include Get It On, that turns the lights pink, and plays a sexy tune to get things started for you. But at least on some Royal Caribbean ships that I've been on, there are adult movies that you can rent on your stateroom TV. The movies are for a charge and, well, they don't last very long. I figure if the kids are sent to go play in the kids area or to go do the water slides on board or something, parents probably don't need that long to get in a little romance while the room is empty. Look, if money were no object, we'd all sail in the fanciest rooms on the ship. But money is a factor for most cruisers. At the same time, the cruise lines want to put as many cabins as they can on board the ship. That leads to a weird situation on board. You can pay thousands for a fancy balcony room or suite in a prime location on the ship, and lots of people do this. They are great rooms without a doubt, but they do have a hefty price tag as well. But because cruise lines want to take advantage of the space on board, there can be an interior cabin literally 3 feet across the hall that's just a fraction of the price. Now, of course, in no way are these the same rooms or experience, but if you're someone that is concerned about location of your cabin on the ship, you can be literally feet away from some of the best cabins for much, much less. If there's one thing that I'm seeing more and more people complaining about when it comes to cruising, it's that the ships have gotten so large that there's simply too many people on board. With upwards of 6,000 or even 7,000 passengers, not to mention the crew members, yes, it is a lot of people. But over the years, I've noticed that there are some strange traffic patterns that I personally take advantage of to keep clear of the crowds. For instance, I find it strange that people cannot wait to be the first on the cruise ship on embarkation day, but they also can't wait to get off the ship first at the end of the cruise. That's why I try to show up later to board when possible. Not only are the crowds smaller, but if you board early, you may be unable to get to your room for literally hours while they are still being prepped for new passengers. I've also noticed that despite a short amount of time in port, people definitely take their time to get off the ship at a port of call. For instance, I was on the first tender to Catalina Island during a recent cruise, and I was able to explore for a good hour or two before it even started to fill in at all. Now, as part of my job, I'm signed up for all of the email marketing lists from the cruise lines that tell you about all the latest sales and offers that you can book. After years of these emails, I can tell you that it's strange how cruise lines, literally all of them, they always have sales going. Often they threaten to end soon only to be extended, or they do change, but in a way that's really negligible. It's obvious that they do this because, well, because it works, but if you're a veteran cruiser, then you know to just ignore these sales. If a cruise line needs to fill rooms, it will adjust prices on a specific sailing, not offer lower prices across the board. Whenever you cruise, one strange item to throw in your bag is an old gift card or even an old cruise key card just in case. Many ships, though not all, they have implemented an energy saving feature that honestly I find it a bit annoying. Instead of just a normal light switch in the cabin, they have one that is operated by a card. You insert the card and then you can turn on the lights. If the card isn't there, the lights only stay on for a short time before automatically turning off. It's designed so that you put your room key card in there when you enter the cabin, but it's way too easy to have the card in, walk out of the room, and then have the door locked behind you, forgetting your key inside. Instead, you can bring an old card, put it in the holder on day one, and not have to worry about it for the rest of the cruise. I will admit, I am not really a spa guy, but that is changing slightly, and one reason for it is that I never knew about an offer that cruise ship spas have because it's not heavily advertised. If you look around, you'll see lots of mentions about spa services for sale. They're on the phone app, they're mentioned in a daily planner, and you can head down to the spa for details and full price lists of all these services. What I didn't know for a long time is that the spas also have day passes, and they're one of the cheapest services available. And frankly, I think they're one of the best deals. But strangely, they usually aren't listed on the services, and you just have to ask the staff about them. I've paid about $40 for a day pass that gives you access to the thermal loungers, the steam rooms, those fancy showers, and a lot more. Considering that a massage can easily run $150 for an hour, paying a third of that for all the time you want to relax, that's an awesome deal. Now, despite cruise lines being massive, multi-billion-dollar corporations that have tens of thousands of employees, it comes across as a little bit funny that they can still be superstitious. And if you're going around the ship, knowing about that superstition can help you from getting lost, or if you're a dad like me, can help you play a joke on your kid. On many ships, you will find that they don't have a 13th deck. Deck numbers go from deck 12 to deck 14. So when you tell your kid that the arcade is on deck 13, it can cause all sorts of confusion. Some ships take superstition even further. Icon of the Seas, for example, the largest cruise ship on the planet, it doesn't have room numbers that end in 666 or room numbers ending in the number 13. What significance does August 20th have to cruisers? Well, I'd guess most people have no idea that it's a major date for finding cheaper cruise fares to the Caribbean. It's pretty well known that if you book a cruise that sails when school is in session, that rates are much, much lower. With fewer families able to cruise, prices drop to generate demand. I've looked at prices during the month of August, and that drop actually starts in early August, but prices seem to reach their lowest point around August 20th. That will vary based on if that's a weekday or weekend and the length of the cruise. But if you're wondering when cruise prices are officially low compared to the height of summer, look at this date as a rule of thumb. One thing that many people don't know is kind of strange to me because it's there to help passengers, but the cruise lines rarely, if ever, talk about it. I'm talking about navigation clues around the ship. Now, I've covered how door markers have hidden meanings or signs that can help you tell forward from aft. In a windowless cabin hallway, you can go in the wrong direction easily if you are not careful. NCL often just has carpet with arrows or fish pointing forward. But beyond that, cruise lines use other clues that you may not know about. For instance, this Virgin Voyages ship uses different color schemes around the stairwells and elevators to differentiate between forward, mid, and aft on the ship. On many cruise ships, you can also look at the carpeting. The cabin hallway will have one type of carpeting, but then the ship has a different type for elevator bays that bleeds into the hallway. So if you're walking and wondering where the elevators are, that carpet will tell you. If you're traveling as a couple and want alone time, then this one might not be for you, but if you're the sort of cruiser that thinks the more the merrier, then you want to take advantage of a strange quirk in cruise pricing. So if you sail solo, you pay for double occupancy. So a person sailing alone pays the same price as two people sailing together, except for those port fees. But add a third or a fourth passenger in the same cabin, they can sail for practically nothing. Some of the prices for an additional passenger can be so low that frankly, I'm not sure how it even covers the cost of food. Now, cabins are small, so I don't blame you if you wouldn't want to sail with a third person in the room, but if you do, you can save some serious cash when the cost is spread across 3 or more passengers. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something that maybe you didn't know before you watched this video. Remember, if you found this interesting, I hope that you'll subscribe as we reach 100,000 subscribers. For more on everything cruising, you can always visit Cruzely.com. And until next time, happy sailing.